This might possibly be the greatest love story ever told, at least in North Lincoln. And as with any good love story, there's some truth sprinkled in with some fiction, and some potential heartbreak, along with the typical check cashing and liquor stores found in the north side of Lincoln. As in any great love story, this is a story told with lessons for all. You see, this great love story started like most Nebraskan love stories, at a Stars hockey game. Two lost souls were reminiscing about the one that got away in Sydney. In search for her, Curtis went looking for advice from the wise to the new to the old-timers on how to woo her. Alas, he was not able to close the deal at the hockey game. After striking out at hockey, Curtis decided to try to reconnect with his true love at the home of giants. After a few beers and shots, Sydney became open to the idea. However, she realized if this new love was going to last, she needed insights from the wisest sages she could find. She approached Carl and Betty and asked what the secret to their everlasting love was. Carl looked at her with a smile and responded with, "Huh." And Betty told her that was the secret. Together, Sydney and Curtis continued to ask for advice from the wise people that make up the Northview Lincoln Business Association. Collectively, this group had a vast collection of relationship knowledge, from their 134 years of marriage and 13 total divorces. Once they exhausted their options out by the soccer mom van, they headed inside and found the best seats in the house, where the Salt Dogs welcomed them with open arms. Once they were inside, it was apparent if they were truly going to have an everlasting relationship, they needed a role model. They needed someone that was beautiful and wise, had a long track record of success, and was a sexy dancer. They learned from this wise dancer not only how to move your hips, an important part in any love story, but how to dance like no one is watching. They were inspired, and this brought their love only tighter. However, this love story doesn't stop with an inspirational dancer. In fact, there was only one lesson that they had to learn. In order to be the best lover, you must focus on yourself and remind people that you should always be at the center of attention. In other words, don't lose your individuality. After those important love lessons, they decided to test their fortitude by hanging out with half-naked people at the annual NLBA pool party. At this event, they learned how to show off your body and look great in a Speedo from the infamous Fred. However, trouble was around the corner, and this couple ran into their biggest challenge to date. They ran into a fox, a shirtless fox. Sydney thought about straying. Thank goodness there was an eye doctor in the house that helped to adjust Sydney's glasses. She quickly realized that would have been a major mistake. Curtis and Sydney were able to move on from that near disaster and decided to find out what true love means amongst 90,000 of their closest friends at a Nebraska tailgate. There, they learned that alcohol, while at times helps with marriage, White Claw trumps all and will help you overcome almost any obstacle. It will even help you overcome this visual. The one obstacle that it won't help you overcome, though, is denim shorts. In fact, that act alone will many times drive you into the hands of other potential lovers. Lost and confused, something drastic had to be done to bring these lovebirds back together. We decided to ask these famous couples for advice. Here's what they said. RJ and Leslie said the key was leaving the country every 2 months to see if you both can make it back alive. Colleen said the key was creating the perfect balance between the boardroom and the bedroom. Fred and his partner said the key was drinking cheap beer. Susan's advice was being free enough where you feel like you can bounce around. Jeannie's advice was bringing yogurt sticks to any outing. Angel's was keeping what is important front and center. Dr. Adams' advice was while love is blind, getting your prescription right can go a long way. Get it? Eye doctor, love is blind? Tim's advice was to always remain weird. Eventually, by the end of the tailgate, Sydney was able to forgive Curtis for his poor judgment in clothing, and they were ready for their next adventure. And their greatest test to date, axe throwing. There, they learned that love can make you feel at times that you are like a caged animal, but if you keep chipping away, eventually you will hit the mark. Unless you are this guy. I doubt he ever hits the mark. The biggest lesson in love was learned in that there is truly no right way to hit the mark. Sometimes you can be high, other times you will be low, but with love and support from each other, you can be perfect right in the center. Just make sure that you share in each other's success and don't make the other feel like they're living in a cage. With that final lesson learned, Sydney and Curtis were ready to take the next and final step in their love story. After the lessons learned over the past year and amongst their greatest of friends, they knew it was time to take the final plunge. They walked down the aisle, sealed their vows with a kiss, and Curtis took Sydney's last name. They then decided to show off the sexy dance moves they learned this year, and they lived happily ever after in the Northland of Lincoln, where gas is less expensive, Subway sandwiches are cheaper, and they didn't have to deal with the pretentious a-holes living in the south side of Lincoln.